So now in this video, we're going to look at the 7414 integrated circuit. There's a little more to the 7414. There's a lot of variations. We'll look at that coming up. But in any case, it's a hex, which means 6. As you can see, there's 6 integrated circuits here that are inverters. So you give an input and it outputs the opposite. So if you give a high input, it outputs a low input outputs a high. Now it also is a Schmitt trigger, which means that that high-low point is not a definite fine point. You have to go down a little bit before the output goes high, and then go up a bit more from there for the output to go low. It's not a specific point. Prevents rapid triggering right at a certain point. Helps hold it stable a little bit. So, in any case, as I said before, we're using the 7414. The particular one I'm using came from this kit. And these are all 74HCs. And so we're using that one right there. It's the 74HC high-speed CMOS kit. So a lot of times you'll see 74XX. And so in this case, there's a whole bunch of different numbers here. And so XX stands for, it could be any one of these numbers. Whereas sometimes you got the number, maybe 7414, maybe it's 74XX14. I mean, that's because there's high-speed CMOS, low-power Schottky, a bunch of different versions right there. So, in any case, this is the quick video series. We're not going to dwell on that too much. I'll just point that out. So, to begin with, we have to power the integrated circuit. And as you can see on the board, I already did that. Top right pin, pin number 14, is to the positive supply. And then the bottom pin here, pin 7, you go 1, 2, 3, work your way down to 7, and then jump across 8, work your way up to 14. That goes to the ground rail there. We provide power. We're using 5 volts. Really, this integrated circuit is intended for 5 volts. So there's a little bit of wiggle room, but really, you're going to want it 5 volts. So always look up the data sheet for the particular component you're using. Now, you can see it says about 2 milliamps of current right now, which it should be saying 0 milliamps of current. But one of the inputs is floating. You can see that I can actually change it just by moving my finger on there. It's picking up signals, that one floating pin, and in fact I can just take it. I can go either to the positive rail or the negative rail. So this is one of the inputs, the one we'll be using later, and there you can see I go to positive rail or negative rail. It just looks at the voltage, no current flows through, and you can see we got rid of that problem with the extra current. So that's why I have these jumpers going to the positive rail. Wherever you see A, that is an input. Where it says Y, that's an output. You don't have to worry. You can leave the outputs floating. So let's get to our demonstration circuit. Again, this is my quick video series. I did longer videos where I covered these topics in more detail. I have a trim pot to set the voltage, and in the middle here is where the wiper will connect. I'll plug in that gray jumper, or the green jumper I mean, right there. Now we have the trim pot. The middle pin is the wiper, so that's going to go on the row where that green jumper is, and then the other 2 pins to where these 2 supply pins come. So if I go all the way up, we got 5 volts up there. All the way down, we got 0. Halfway, we got about 2.5 volts right there. For our load, we can either source current, so when we give a low input, we'll have a high output, the LED will light up, and that's the one we're going to do first. We could also sink current into the output, where we have this side of the load more positive, and then it will light up when the output is low. But it's more common to have an output that you turn the load on when the output goes high. So 220 ohm resistor, since we're dealing with 5 volts and we're protecting an LED, long lead the anode to the resistor, short lead the cathode to that jumper down there. So now we just take our trim pot, our signal, and go to the second pin up right there. So you can see Y is the output. I don't know why Y is often shown as the output, but A is commonly used to show the first input. Some of them got more than one input, so it goes A, B, C, however many inputs there are for a particular logic gate. So there we go. Now the LED is off, And that tells me that I need to turn the trim pot down, and now it's on. So we have a low input and a high output because we got ground there. So it's if it were the same, it'd be ground there, and the LED would be off. So we know it is the opposite. Now if we go to the positive side of the supply, now the LED turns off right there. So one of the things we could do if we have this circuit where instead we're going to use the inverter, but instead we want the LED on when our signal is high, then we can just do a little shuffling. So I'm going to take the LED. Of course, I have to turn it this way if I'm going to set it above that row. And so long lead, the anode goes to the red jumper. Short lead, the cathode goes there. That way it'll light up when we connect to the negative rail. And so before the output was sourcing the current. This time the output's going to sink current right there. So we got positive there. The trim pot is at positive, but the output is at negative there. So we got current flowing that way. If I turn the trim pot to positive, now the output is low, or the output's high, I mean, because the signal is low, and since the output's high, it connects up there to the same spot as down there. The LED is not going to light up. So you can wire it like that. So, in any case, I did, in the last video, a not logic gate with a transistor. And that worked okay for an on or off, a distinct signal coming in. This integrated circuit, it's a much better designed not gate or inverter, especially because it has the Schmitt trigger. But it works a lot better over a wide range of voltages. As you can see, it's going to work a ton better when the voltage is kind of wavering than the transistor version. So generally speaking, if you need a logic gate, you buy an integrated circuit, but still look at the basic like switch version and transistor versions, because that helped me a ton in understanding what is actually doing with the inputs and outputs. And also sometimes you just kind of got to make circuitry that responds like this with a transistor. So that helps a lot if you understand these logic gates with the transistor. So thanks for watching. Make sure you check out one of the other videos. Click like, subscribe, the bell. I will see you in the next video.